Welcome to the Foxtrot Uniform Charlie Kilo episode of the Overcrest Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And we have a great Overcrest rewind for you guys today. We're going to go through the news of the week and hit what we think is cool, what we think is important.
What is notable and you need to know.
We got a couple cool topics to talk about. I'm going to review a little bit of our projects. I don't know if you've worked on the truck or not, but before we get to that stuff, what have you got for us?
Yeah, we'd like to remind you to head over to patreon.com/overcrest. It's one way that you can support the show. You can get a bunch of bonus content. We just recorded one regarding displacement, Chris.
Yeah.
There's no replacement for displacement.
We found out that there might be.
True.
Yeah, there might be.
In addition to exclusive content, you can opt to go up a level and get a t-shirt, get some swag. You can get maybe even exclusive print from Chris.
The most important thing you're doing is supporting the show. You're supporting us. $5 a month, that's like a coffee. Right, you can support your creators.
And as I like to say, rather than going and buying that coffee from Starbucks, all month you can get content from us that'll keep you awake in your car much better than that.
So is that Overcrest Vende? Then is that like is Vende?
Oh, you mean like it's Venti, but
Venti? Yeah. See, obviously,
you're a huge Starbucks snob, aren't you, Chris?
Yeah,
I can tell.
Never had a cup of coffee in my life.
No.
True.
I realize you're not a coffee drinker, but you've never tried it.
I've never put coffee in my mouth.
Why?
I don't.
Don't you wonder what you're missing? You're like, this is a super popular thing that everyone does and loves.
I see people like you standing there going, I haven't had my coffee yet, and you're literally a slug crawling across the ground, like just dragging your ass like a dog to the coffee machine.
Yeah. Basically, I'm at your level. That's basically like Chris' level of excitement normally.
Yeah.
And then when I have my coffee, I become myself. Yeah.
I'm
I'm an old grumpy man. My name is Chris. And then I have coffee, and you turn into Jake.
Oh, it's like the Snickers bar commercial.
Exactly.
Thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm Joe Pesci and you're Joe Pesci after having a kid.
Exactly.
I get it. So, one of the topics I wanted to discuss is, we're still for some reason seeing 0 to 60 times.
Right.
It's still.
You're talking about new electric performance cars, or even just not electric.
It's a measurement. If you go look at any car on Motor Trend or Auto Week or whatever, they will list the 0 to 60 times. They don't list there should be a smiley face. You know when you're at the hospital and they have how much pain are you in?
Oh, yeah.
And it's
there's
like
a name for that chart.
Yeah. And it's basically, are you somewhat in pain or are you on fire?
Right. Exactly.
Are you on fire? Because that's a 10, you should put me out and then ask me the question again.
Right.
There should be a smiley face chart. How much fun are you having in this car?
Oh.
Are you not having any fun, or are you on fire?
Yes, it's more subjective, and it gives up, I would say,
it's
more
not
accurate...
Subjective. A fun car is a fun car, period. If you are someone that likes cars and you get into a car and you're honest with yourself, cars are fun.
Right.
It is a tool.
You can't quantify it, though.
You can't... I would say that if I get into... even when I got into the Miata when I was driving with Ryan... I had
Reluctantly. You had fun.
I had fun. So that was like a 6 on the smiley face chart.
Okay.
But my point is that 0 to 60 times are getting even more irrelevant as the time compresses, right? The time is compressing because there's an ultimate limit. Unless you're putting snowmobile tracks on your car to get some crazy amount of traction. We've got a 4-foot traction patch by 2 feet wide, and you've got 2 of them. It comes to the limit of physics.
Right. It's just how much power can you put down in a given time.
Yeah, it's just a limit of rubber, the traction surface, what the heat, the temperature, all this stuff. There is an ideal scientific situation where you're going to reach the ultimate 0 to 60 time.
Right.
But with human engineering, you're not going to be able to go any faster.
All it is it's bench top bragging rights. Yeah, your car does 0 to 60 in 4.7. Well, mine does it in 4.6.
What I think would be a better metric is there a couple of times, like a 40 to 80 time, or like a 50 to 100 time. Because when you go to get on the freeway, you speed up to like 30 or 40, and then you got to hit the gas and you got to go, right?
Yeah.
My Mercedes, the AMG, is awesome, 40 to 100, and it shifts, and you feel it shift, and you kind of get pushed back in your seat a little bit every time, and it kicks you, and that to me is a way more fun. And I think people do that a lot more. Nobody goes up to us. They floor their car a lot more than they do a brake stand at a light and try and go, right? Nobody really does that.
I think it's
unless
still
you're trying to, unless you're a Corvette, which we'll talk about later.
Oh,
But nobody does it. So,
Yeah. No, I agree. And no one is out there stoplight racing anymore.
So 40 to 80, 50 to 100 times. Give me those times. I think they do.
I would agree that's irrelevant.
For some of the supercars, you see like 60 to 100, or how fast do you get to 120?
Right.
But I still want to see 60 to 120.
Why?
Because that's where you're having fun.
Okay.
You're having fun when you're actually driving the car. Launching the car from a light is not that interesting unless you're racing somebody, and it's very rare.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very rare. And even when I do end up racing somebody in my car, which is always fun, did I ever tell you I raced a crotch rocket in my 911?
No.
I did, and I hung with him. It was
Really?
like some small displacement crotch rocket or whatever. But he's like, we got to the next light, and he's, whoa, man, what is that thing? I'm like, it's an old 911. He's like, man, there's no way that thing is stock. I'm like, no, it is not.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun, but that's the kind of. But even then, you're doing it from a roll. Like, maybe you slow down a little bit. You're on a 55-mile road. You slow down to like 30. And I usually will race somebody in Mexico only.
Right,
naturally,
or on a closed course,
80 miles an hour, 90 miles. And I usually don't mess around much more than that anymore.
Yeah,
but that's more fun than just being on light and launching yourself. You get the most exhilaration out of downshifting and accelerating.
I would agree.
It's more interactive stuff. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But as this time compresses, the 0 to 60 time compresses down, what do you think manufacturers are going to start to do? Because people aren't going to care anymore.
No, they won't.
Everything is fast.
I would argue people don't care.
Back in the day, you would have something, most consumer cars were 0 to 60 in 10, 11, 12 seconds.
Right.
And it was fine. My Mercedes is probably 0 to 60 in 19 seconds.
Right.
My old one.
Yeah.
But then you would have a Corvette at 0 to 60 with 6 seconds.
And you're like,
so it was it was a significant gap.
Yeah.
But now that all the cars are less than 6 seconds, less than 5 seconds in some cases.
It's silly.
Do you think maybe as time goes on, the electric cars, right now it's kind of this is what we can do. Mm-hmm. They're fast. This is what we can do. They're trying to use that to attract buyers.
Sure.
Do you think as time goes on and the market develops that we're going to start to see that breadth of 0 to 60 time come back where people are going to be like, I just want like a $14,000 electric car with 100 horsepower that is a 0 to 60 time in 9 seconds. I just don't need that. And then there'll be like this marketplace for a slow electric car that somebody just doesn't need that type of torque, power, and speed.
It's still not relevant then. The 0 to 60 time.
Why?
Because if people don't want that anymore, because they know that's easily attainable,
right?
Then why does it matter if this one doesn't do 0 to 60? The reason you don't want it is because it's not something you're going for.
Well, you're talking about somebody that's buying a Chevy Aveo.
Sure.
Okay, but those people exist now. Those cars are slow now.
Right.
But yet we still don't care about the 0 to 60 times anymore.
Right.
Because all the fast cars are just fast. Plus I can't compete with a Tesla anyway. So I'm not sure where this is going to go. We'll see where 0 to 60 times
I think
go.
your point is it's just not a relevant metric anymore.
So what do you think manufacturers are going to do to keep things fresh? If it can't be...
I like your smiley face idea.
You like that?
And somehow it has to be a regulated system. You can't quantify it, but it needs to be like a panel of like 100 judges or something, and every single car in the market, it's like an EPA fuel mileage rating. Right? And so it is across the board.
You know what they would call it? Smiles per mile.
Smiles per mile. See, I love that idea.
Yeah. Maybe we should go do some test driving.
Oh, so now it's the Overcrest Smiles per mile official. Yeah, I like that.
We need to start going and test drive some cars anyway. Some of these new cars, these Hyundais, everything else.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, I talked to one of the R&D guys at Hyundai. Mm-hmm. He's going to come on the podcast to talk about what they're doing.
That'll be exciting.
I'm really, really interested.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what...
I want to know what some of these guys...
See how many ponies their cars have.
I don't get it.
Ponies, the Hyundai pony.
Oh, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then ponies, horsepower.
Yeah, no, I get that part. That was dumb. No,
I bet somebody did. If you laughed at that terrible joke, send us a message at info@. All right. So, what about like tech and luxury? I mean, is that going to be something that people are going to start throwing more and more technology into the cars to get people? Are they going to become more and more luxurious?
Yeah, that's what we see.
To attract people. More. Maybe we'll see better design.
No.
I would like to think we'll see better design, maybe more risky design, because cars are becoming kind of homogenous now.
Oh, for sure.
Everything's kind of this round blob.
Yep. You look at the Tesla Model S, every electric car is looking like a Tesla Model S.
They're just...
Even the Porsche Taycan is looking like a Tesla Model S in my mind. Silhouette?
Well, I think that's formed by aerodynamics probably a little bit, but that's a lot of... Well, yeah, they're becoming more homogenous. Maybe we'll start to see, some sort of bold design choice, because as we talk about in the last couple of weeks, the drive lines are becoming so similar that they can't use that to necessarily differentiate their brand anymore.
Right.
So you're going to start seeing other things. Maybe it'll be.
I would hope so.
Maybe it'll be designed.
I want to go back to the 50s where things were just wild. How tall are the fins we can put on this thing?
I don't like the style, but I do like the...
Things were so different, like full glass top bubble roofs and...
There was risks.
BMW Isetta, how different is that thing from a Chevy Bel Air with giant fins on it?
You do have smart cars. Those are a lot different than an Escalade.
True. Which, yeah, I like smart cars because they're different.
I saw one driving around and my kid goes, Dad, why is that tiny car driving around on the road?
That's not allowed!
It's ridiculous. So have you been working on the truck at all? Did you do anything since?
I haven't. No, my dad is still doing a lot of rust repair. He cut out one of the floors.
So I noticed one of the things I got from Worth was a can of rust conversion and a can spray can.
Yes.
Not the paint on can.
Did you bring that for me? Because last time you said you were going to bring that for me.
No. And I thought about giving it to you, and then you were supposed to come up today, and then you abandoned me.
No, I didn't. You said I'm not doing that anymore because I'm too afraid to proceed as is.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
It's not. I'm not
100% true.
I'm slightly afraid. I'm slightly afraid to work on my car. So all the sheet metal showed up, all of it. So I have absolutely no excuses to start working.
You have everything.
So I think what I'm going to do is I need to. So the inner fender piece actually comes up much farther south on the car than I thought it would.
Okay. And
so what I got to do is I got to take the new fender that I had off, and I'm going to trace. I got to cut the battery box off.
Yep.
The old one.
Yep.
So because I don't have a battery box on the new inner fender, I need to get that out of the way so I can make a template of the new thing. See how far up it goes.
Sure.
And then I can draw that line on the car.
And you're going to go as far as it goes.
I'm going to go as far as it goes. I'm going to use all of it, and then that's where I'm going to cut it. I think.
Yep.
I'll use the fender hole, the first fender hole on the thing to line it up, and that's where it'll go. But then I'm going to have to maybe shift it up and down a little bit to try and get it so it's straight. I don't know. I was talking to a friend, and he says, your car is basically going to become a sculpture.
Yeah, you're going to have to eyeball this thing.
It's going to have to be eyeballed a little bit. It's going to be a lot of, all right, this is here, tack it. The first cut is the one that I'm afraid to make.
Well, the first cut is the deepest, Chris.
It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with that. The first cut will determine, because the first cut is how straight it's going to be. I got to get that cut straight because I don't want to cut like a little triangle piece and end up putting it in there and tack. Well, I guess that wouldn't be the end of the world.
No, it wouldn't. I think you should cut further down from your piece so that you then can adjust it. Have an inch or two to play with.
Well, yeah. So what I need to do is I have these little Cleco clamps or whatever. Yep. So when I get that battery box cut off, I'm going to have that other piece, and I'll be able to kind of clamp it on there and kind of step back and look okay. And then I can, once I have it on there, I can set the fender back on and go, is this better?
Yeah.
And then I can continue to put it on and off, and then.
I also have some butt welding clamps that I need to give you. That you use.
Yes.
I bought some of those. You turn them down as the thing, and it gives you like the 16th in between.
Yep. I bought a few of those.
Okay.
I went on a Northern Tool shopping spree of grinding discs and cutting discs and the butt welding things and everything else. So that's kind of where we're at. I laid everything out in front of the car, and you could visually see it.
Yeah, you took a nice photo of it.
It is a lot of work.
Yep.
It is an incredible amount of work that I have to do. It's about 25% of the car.
Yeah, I guess it is.
With the floor pan and the suspension pan and everything else, it's about 25%.
Jeez.
And the nice thing is all the metal is really heavy gauge. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's that good old German steel.
It's Canadian.
Well, Canadian made to German steel specs.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, what have we got in news? You want to take this one?
Subaru came out with a new Forester edition, which is not a joke. I had to look this up.
It's not.
This is not a joke.
I like the Forester. I think of all the Subarus, I like the Forester that has the STI engine.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that. My buddy Steve has one of those. They're rad.
Yeah, for sure. So Subaru's display at the 2020 Singapore Motor Show was headlined by the Visiviv Adrenaline concept, the Forester, E-Boxster, and the GT edition as well, and the refreshed Impreza. However, there was one model showcased in the Japanese carmaker's booth that we figured deserves everyone's attention. Here it is, Chris.
The Forester Ultimate Customized Kit Special Edition.
And here's what's terrible. If you look this up...
Everybody just think for a second.
No. You don't even have to think. Because here's what they did. They wrote this big long name in giant type in front of the car at the booth. And what did they do? They capitalized every letter and made it bold and much bigger than every other thing. So it just said F.U.C.K. Why?
Foxtrot Uniform Charlie Kilo Edition. So it's a custom thing. It's got a bunch of interior stuff and, different seats and vinyl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Subaru has released an apology.
No.
Yes. So, do you think somebody was upset, or do you think that somebody, I mean, like a consumer was upset, or a journalist was upset?
I don't know.
Or do you think someone at the company was like, oh my gosh, what do we got to do? We got to apologize for this.
I don't know. So I want to hear, so they just had an apology?
Yesterday afternoon, we learned about an unfortunate situation related to the name given to a special edition Forester by the independent distributor in Singapore. We want to make sure that you and all your customers know that Subaru of America and Subaru Corporation had nothing to do with this.
So this was some third party that made a modified Forester?
Yeah,
basically.
Okay. Do you think they knew? Or is it just this thing where the Japanese don't really... Because the English is kind of...
Someone knew exactly what they were doing.
But even when you see Japanese products sometimes...
I know.
The words don't work. They don't match.
Oh, I know.
You think that every company would pay some American guy like $50 grand and just be like, no, you can't say that.
Well, there's one guy, and he thinks it's hilarious, so he just keeps going.
We apologize for any negative feedback this may have caused. Okay. Who gave negative feedback? Who didn't just chuckle at this and go about their day?
Right.
Like somebody must have called up a dealer and been like,
I'm so offended.
As a Subaru owner, I'm offended about this. I'm worried about the brand and its direction. SBR has had the name removed from the car at the Singapore Auto Show. We worked very hard to build a strong brand image for this company, and the naming of this vehicle is in no way reflective of our values and standards that we hold true. We have no sense of humor.
Basically.
But this is corporate. This is corporate America. Furthermore, we will always do our best to protect our brand's integrity.
Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah. It's also, this thing is hideous. And if they really did call it the F.U.C.K edition, the guy that's driving it wouldn't...
Oh, he would love it. That's why he would buy it.
He would buy it. He gives no fucks.
Do you remember the Mitsubishi Evolution 9 F.Q.430? This was something you couldn't buy in America.
No.
This was from the factory. The F.Q.430 stood for fucking quick 430 horsepower.
That's amazing.
That was Mitsubishi did that. They owned it.
That is fantastic.
That is awesome.
And Mitsubishi doesn't make cars anymore.
Well,
basically.
Yeah. But that's not what took them down. That was awesome.
No.
I feel like people should embrace that.
Are there other instances of that happening? I feel like I'm missing out on other instances of acronyms by manufacturers. Oh, man. Oh, PDQ is pretty damn quick, the gas station. If you want to go and get gas, it's PDQ. Pretty damn quick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of other ones. You'll have to let us know
we'll
as
see
a listener.
Yeah, if anybody knows of any, let us know.
All right, so Chris, we've heard different news about this where basically cities in Europe are cracking down on emissions, basically saying if your car pollutes or whatever else, or if it's a diesel, you can't enter the city.
You can't drive here, you can't drive there, between these times, that times, you can pay a stamp if you want it, blah, blah, blah.
So Belgium enacted this for its cities, but there's something they kind of forgot about.
Okay.
So Belgium's federal police vehicles are now too dirty for its urban emissions rules. So Chris, here's the scenario. You have just committed a bank robbery in Belgium, let's say. Okay. And so you're in your car, and oh geez, the police are onto you. You're in a high-speed chase. What do?
Whatever you want, because they did.
Well, you just head right into the city center, and they can't follow you.
So are these guys actually not allowed to drive in the city with these vehicles? I mean, they must give them some sort of pass, right?
So Belgium's federal police forces have run afoul of tighter emissions control enacted at the start of the year, with a number of its cars and vans now too dirty to enter the city of Brussels, Antwerp, and Ghent. Keep in mind, this is more than just a paperwork snafu. The country takes these restrictions seriously, and the cost of keeping its police vehicles on the road is prohibitive. The police force does not have sufficient funds to renew its entire fleet of several thousand vehicles. So they literally are not allowing a lot of these police vehicles in the city.
So I thought Belgium was super safe. Isn't it just people like Jason Bourne just spying on people in Belgium? Isn't that what you do there?
Sure.
I don't think that's that.
Yeah, I think they like Brussels sprouts.
Wow, dude, that was awful.
That was much better than your pony joke.
Nope, it wasn't.
That was much
Mine was actually car related. Yours is vegetarian related.
Yeah.
No good.
All right.
Beep. All right, is that it for that one?
That's it for that one.
All right, Toyota has launched a new heritage parts project.
Oh.
And they will start producing parts for the A70 and A80 Supra.
So this is like Porsche Classic for your old Toyota.
Well, this is something that has existed for a while with other manufacturers, not just Porsche. The Volkswagen has a classic department.
Yeah, okay.
That you could order stuff through the dealer at outrageous prices for your Econobox Volkswagen. BMW has a classics department. I mean, everybody has kind of a classics department.
Gotcha.
It's the Japanese manufacturers that have been lagging behind.
I gotcha.
Nissan, I don't think they really do much. Toyota now does it. We found out that Mazda's doing it with the Miata, remember?
Yes, that's right. You can basically send your Miata in and have a brand new one returned.
Yeah, so Toyota Gazoo Racing is leading a new initiative to reproduce previously unavailable genuine parts for Toyota Heritage models. The initiative is known as the GR Heritage Parts Project. And I think this is cool.
You know, it is cool.
But the question is, why are they doing it?
It's because I think they realize, like, our coolest stuff is from the past now.
Is that is there nostalgia catching up with them? That
yes,
they're just
100%.
We're not going to be able to make anything cool anymore?
Yep.
Is it me mourning for my youth when I was like, man, I used to be cool?
Yep.
Now I'm just some
you're not
podcast guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
100%.
So it's cool. I mean, it's nice knowing that some of this stuff is going to stick around. And I think the more manufacturers get involved in these heritage projects, the longer we're going to be able to drive our cars and do things with them.
I agree.
Which I think will be great.
So
because as they're out on the road, they're going to be seen by other people, and it just
that's true. And you'll be like, why would I buy this super boring blah mobile when look at this guy having fun in his old whatever?
His miles per miles are at least 7 out of 10.
Oh, for sure. The Mammobile is only a 1.
The Mammobile. Yeah,
all right, so you have some interesting news out of BMW.
All right, so BMW, this is interesting because you remember when we talked about Honda the other day, and they were saying, we're not sure if electrics are the way.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing hybrids or mixed technologies, whatever. Right? BMW's R&D boss, Klaus Froelich, has said, quote, a flexible architecture is the best solution for the next 5 to 10 years. But clearly, if the world turns fully electric, we will develop dedicated architectures. Now, I was looking at some of the comments on different news articles that had to do this, and everybody's like, oh my God, BMW's living in the past. It's over. Oh my gosh. But in theory, this is kind of been the stance for BMW for a long time. They haven't really gotten after this electric thing super hard.
No, I think, wasn't it their boss who said, like, we will continue building internal combustion engines for the next 30 years?
Yeah, it was something like that. The best assumption is that electrified vehicles will account for 20 to 30% of worldwide sales by 2030. So that's a much lower estimate
much more conservative
than what a lot of other people have been saying.
Yeah.
But they're going to have a very diverse global distribution. China's big East Coast cities will become purely electric pretty soon, while Western China will rely on gasoline engines for the next 15 to 20 years due to lack of infrastructure.
That makes sense.
In Europe, there's a reluctance to jump directly to EVs, so plug-in hybrids are the right solution. They will be used as EVs during the week and run on gasoline on weekends or long trips.
That makes
sense. We expect plug-in hybrids to come for 25% of European sales. Gasoline and diesel will have more than 50%, and the rest will be EVs. Most of the U.S. does not even need them, he said. We could offer high-performance plug-in hybrids in the M space, providing a lot of fun to the driver, miles per mile, as environmental credits for us. Yeah. We see EVs mainly in the West Coast and parts of the East Coast, while the rest of the U.S. will continue with conventional gasoline engines.
I think that is accurate. I think that's a very realistic outlook.
Why do you think companies like Volkswagen went all in on electric like this? $60 billion.
Because they can't make diesels anymore?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think that somebody got really, really, really shocked by what Tesla did.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And still, the vast majority of EVs that are sold are still Teslas.
Yep.
I really thought people were going to go, I'm going to move away from this. I mean, we don't have a serious amount to choose from right now, but the Teslas are the main volume seller in this segment right now, and I think that's not what I expected. I thought as other manufacturers came in, we'd start to see a shift away from it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, and I know you don't like hydrogen cars, but the BMW is going to be developing with Toyota some hydrogen vehicles in the next 10 years. Second generation ones, because they already have some.
Yeah,
BMWs, the X6 and S7 are going to be in the next 10 years, but
cool, they won't work.
Okay, it seems like they're not going to work for cars, is what he said, but they are going to work for industrial vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Trucks.
So your semis are all going to be hydrogen.
It could be. The problem is that I didn't realize how much pressure was in these tanks.
Oh, yes.
700 bar.
Yes.
That's 10,000 PSI.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't work, Chris.
Huge amount of pressure. Just because, with the trucks and stuff, they're driving so much, the electric stuff just isn't an option. It takes too long to charge. It's too much weight in batteries. It's too inefficient.
Yep.
And which makes me think of Tesla's semi-truck.
How is that
going to work?
plausible?
How is that going to?
I don't know.
How are you going to be able to drive? These guys will drive 3,000, 4,000 miles in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
How are you going to be able to charge that?
I don't know.
It's just not an option there. Okay, so
maybe what they're hauling is just their battery pack.
Yes, they're just going to drive another battery pack. I still think hot swappable batteries are going to be the answer to all of this. I just have...
Instead of driving through your car wash, it'd basically be your drive-through battery swap.
Right, and I don't think there need to be anybody involved.
No, it's just literally pull through. It's automated underneath your car. The entire bottom of the chassis is modular.
Yeah, it hooks it, pulls it out as you drive through. I think that would probably be a manufacturer-based thing, like you drive the dealer into it. And because I don't think...
Then you don't have a line 130 deep to charge your Tesla as you're waiting for
it would be faster than filling up your gas tank.
Yes, it would.
Why do you think this hasn't happened?
I don't know. Initially, this was one thing they were talking about. Is it infrastructure? Because now they need these things everywhere?
I think everybody doesn't know what to do, so whenever somebody spends a ton of money on something like a charging system, everyone's like, all right, fine, we'll do that. Because there's nobody really knows how this is going to work.
I agree.
All right, so Corvette... 2 Corvettes have sadly been impounded. According to Kentucky State Police, a trooper stopped Alexander Tim and Mark Derkatz on the evening of Wednesday, January 8th, on Lover's Lane in Bowling Green. Now, this isn't what you think based on the street name. Don't get too excited. For exceeding the posted 45-mile-per-hour speed limit by more than 26 miles per hour, reckless driving, and racing motor vehicles on a public road.
Okay.
Automobile Magazine has not been able to verify just how much higher than 71 miles per hour the cars were traveling when the police nailed them and hauled the drivers away. Exceeding the speed limit by 26 miles per hour is simply Kentucky's standard orders. I think it ended up being...
Oh, I get it.
I think it was like 30 miles an hour over is what they were actually doing.
Sure.
According to the employee's LinkedIn profiles, Tim is a computer-aided engineer working on induction exhaust systems, and Marquette is an electrical engineer. Fortunately, no one was injured in the accident. Give me a break!
So wait, these are both GM engineers.
Yes.
I like it.
They were basically doing 70, 75, and a 45. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think, but they arrested them and impounded the cars.
Jeez.
We are aware of an incident involving our test vehicles and are currently investigating.
So these were their actual test vehicles. Yes. These weren't just these guys' personal cars.
GM noted in a statement provided. Safety remains our overriding priority at GM. We have no further comment at this time.
Yeah.
As for the Corvettes, police enlisted 2 towing companies to remove them from the scene and deposit them at the impound lot, where a police representative said the vehicles were collected by the next day by the owner. That's almost like when you get caught speeding and you get your car taken away and a kid, your parents have to come get it out of the impound lot for you.
That never happened to me.
No. Per GM statement, it is unknown whether Tim and Marquette remain employed with the company.
I would hope.
Here's this statement. I think this is actually Automobile Mag. Yeah, it's Automobile Mag. The situation is particularly embarrassing for the Corvette brand. Baloney!
Yeah, this is what Corvettes are.
This is what the car is made to do. This is the best viral marketing plan ever.
These cars are made to street race, even so much so that our engineers are testing them by doing that.
This is so good. For viral marketing, getting the word about the Corvette out there, obviously it's not intentional because you can't say, hey guys, we're going to race here, pull us over. Just like
right,
but it is, nobody's embarrassed. If they're embarrassed, they should be fired. This is exactly what every Corvette was meant to do, is go on the 4-lane highway with the stoplight to stoplight. And originally, maybe. Well, I guess maybe not.
It was never designed to do that.
No, but that's what it gets used for.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not. Originally, it was kind of like a fast touring car. Then I guess it became more of a, like just a hot rod type of thing, right?
I think it's just always been the retiree vehicle for the older white gentleman who can put his golf clubs in the back.
Yeah, well, at least they can put the golf clubs in these. They made room for that.
They did, actually.
Mercedes
proves my point.
So I think they're more of a race car now.
I agree. They definitely have that capability.
They've been engineered to
be
but
literally, they were testing how many golf clubs you could put in the back when they were engineering this.
They had to.
Yes.
All right, Mercedes, because in Florida, the guys that own them are going to need to go from their retirement home.
Yeah. And I mean, it's cool. You can get there quick.
How many little jackets with Corvette flags on it do you think you can fit in that compartment that has the...
A lot of them.
Where would you store the diamond plate steel that you buy to put in your garage when you take your Corvette?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you do need that for
You gotta have
sure.
that stuff
Yep.
as well. All right, so you know the...
Oh, don't forget the barbed wire license plate frame.
Do you get that free when you get the tattoo?
Yes, I think so.
All right, so Mercedes is making some pretty ugly stereo prototype stuff lately. Have you seen, just in general?
Yeah.
We're talking over the
Really
last couple of...
panels,
Yeah.
like, move and
So,
stuff.
do you know the Consumer Electronics Show, right?
Yeah.
That's where all the new technology gets revealed.
It used to be for like cell phones and laptops, but now that
Anything...
cars are so electronic, that's where a lot of these are being
Right.
shown.
So Mercedes released a car there. You know, Sony released a car there,
I know.
which is, it should just been called the PlayStation Edition. Do you think it would be cool if like a little, it's a self-driving car, but if you want to drive it, a PlayStation controller comes out of the dash.
Sure.
You got your 2 analog sticks and you can drive it around like it's Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Fantastic. One of our listeners actually pointed out, if you look really close, the rear caliper is basically falling off that car. So the car's not actually made by Sony. I forget who makes it, but it's not Sony. But hey, like I said, everybody can make a car now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very, very easy. So Mercedes released a car at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's called the AVTR, and I want you to sound that out.
Avatar.
And if you remember, Avatar was a movie that was released over 10 years ago, which I don't understand. The car's been called Avatar, and it's covered in scales.
Yep.
33 of them, to be precise.
Yep.
Now, these look like a trypophobiac's worst dream.
So what is a trypophobia?
A trypophobia is an aversion to the sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes and bumps.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Well,
okay.
It is not officially recognized as a mental disorder,
Oh,
but
okay.
you can be diagnosed with it if you're super scared. Like if you see a bunch of dots,
You're like,
ah! Oh my God, there's those dots again. But
wait, hold on. What if you had this trypophobia and you were blind, so all you needed was Braille everywhere? Oh my God, it'd be the worst! Every time you read something in Braille, you freak out.
This is the thing that they're talking about when you see, like if you see somebody's hand, there's a bunch of holes in it, and there's like bugs crawling out of it, or it's like spider eyes. That kind of stuff causes Look, you can Google it if you want.
Or Braille.
It's disturbing to everyone. For some reason, it's disturbing. And the whole rear end of this car has all these little flaps over there. It's just like this.
And spiders crawl out of each one of them.
Even the spherical wheels on the car were inspired by seeds from a special tree in the film Avatar.
Wait, so it literally was a callback to the movie Avatar?
Yeah, James Cameron showed up.
Why?
I don't know. The movie's over 10 years old. Basically, the summary of the movie is a paraplegic Marine was dispatched to the moon on a unique mission becomes torn between following his orders and protecting the world he feels is his own.
Right.
I'm not sure if they're saying the auto industry is full of paraplegics right now and we need to change cars into genetically engineered superhumans. I'm not exactly sure what...
This is so weird.
It's so weird.
Even, do you see like the stage they put it on? It's like the Avatar world.
I don't understand. It's like we've been coming up with this program since 2009. We're finally here to release the Avatar edition.
Weird.
That should have been released 10 years. It makes no sense.
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz Twitter page also is all Avatar now.
Yeah, it's bizarre. You know what? I wonder if there's another Avatar movie coming out.
Oh.
You think that all of a sudden in 2 weeks it's going to be Avatar 2?
By Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, we'll see how things go. All right, what do we got next?
So I like this story. Classic tractors from the 80s.
Thank you for telling me stories that you like versus ones you don't like.
I didn't like any of yours. This one I like. Okay, now sit up. Classic tractors from the 80s are becoming popular with farmers sick of high-tech bullshit. So, Chris, what do you know about farming?
A decent amount. I
mean,
understand.
we're from Wisconsin.
My family owns a huge, like thousands of acres in Kansas. So I have a pretty good idea how farming works.
So one thing that's interesting is that modern tractors are super high-tech with GPS-guided steering, over-the-air software updates, autonomy, and more electronics than a garage for Teslas.
And they can't be... You have to take... The big problem is that you have to take them to the John Deere dealer.
Right.
Or whatever.
All the
international
software
dealer.
is locked.
It's
Everything
locked.
else. Yeah.
Because it's not a car.
Right.
In a car, you can't do that. It's illegal.
Because there's a law.
There's a law that says you can't. But in tractors... You're screwed. You got to take
it's all proprietary.
You got to have some John Deere guy come out, charge you $150 an hour to come look at your John Deere.
And a lot of times,
because you're a farmer and you don't know what the hell any of this crap is.
Right. Well, a lot of times these tractors too, like you just program them to go like plow the field, and you don't have to be in it. And then if it all of a sudden sends out a signal like, "Hey, I need my oil changed," or whatever it does, it'll just pull over to the side of the road, and the technician will come out to the field and change the oil and all this, and you pay for the service, of course.
Right.
So it's all exorbitantly expensive. So this has led to a fight for farmers.
Another issue, though, is farming has become a huge industry. It used to be you have family farming, right? You
now
have a guy with 200
bought
acres.
up, like
They've all been
corporate farms.
So you have thousands and thousands of acres that are unmaintainable by a single farmer. You
Right.
cannot possibly do it.
Which is what leads to this.
Yes.
However, some farmers are fighting for the right to repair the equipment that they own, which you get. You bought this thing.
It's
Why
yours.
can't you fix it? So much of it is proprietary, as we said, and these guys aren't able to work on their own equipment. This has led to strange, maybe not so legal, hacking of farmers' own equipment.
There's some cool stuff on YouTube about this stuff.
So yeah, they basically are employing Eastern European hackers to help them like jailbreak their tractors.
It's awesome.
In addition,
Do they add more boost?
that'd be cool.
Yeah. Let's get this done.
We're gonna plow this
Let's
really
get this
quick.
done.
In addition, it has led to farmers just avoiding all the high-tech headaches entirely and buying tractors from the 70s and 80s. According to our own Minneapolis Star-Tribune, pre-1990 tractors have been selling for higher and higher prices at auctions, and demand for the older tractors has been increasing. So basically you're saying, why would I buy this brand new tractor that I can't work on and it's going to cost all this money when I can buy one that's 30 years old and does the exact same thing?
And it's 25 grand.
Yes. For example, one local farmer opted to buy a 1979 John Deere for his next tractor. And the best thing, the tractor costs 18 grand instead of the over 150 grand for
150,000 would be a bargain for a new tractor.
Yeah, I assume it's a smaller tractor. However, the big draw of the older tractor is the lack of complex technology. Farmers need to be able to fix what they can on the spot or take it to their mechanic right down the street, not having to spend thousands of dollars at the corporate dealer.
When I go into the maintenance facility, which is just a steel building at my great uncle's farm,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it smells like a machine shop. There's tools hanging everywhere.
Right.
It's a generation. He's probably 80.
Yeah.
He's getting up there, but he's the guy that grew up when none of this stuff existed. I don't know if he owns any. I bet he probably does because he owns so many thousands of acres.
Yeah.
But he's got a Model T in there and all kinds of old tools, and the floor is dirt, and it's just this.
Well, the mentality of these farmers, it's like they're super resourceful and they just got it done. They figured out a way to get it done.
They didn't have a choice.
They needed to.
They didn't have a choice because it is harvest time. The harvest time is now. I don't have time for any of this crap.
Exactly. Quote by this local farmer. Modern tractors are incredibly sophisticated and expensive machines with lots of very advanced technologies for operation and control, but the fundamental mechanics design hasn't changed all that dramatically since the 1980s. In much the same way that a 1966 Volkswagen Beetle can get your ass to work and generally the same sort of speed as a 2019 Volkswagen Passat on the same exact roads, using the same basic principles, a 40-year-old tractor does essentially the same job as a modern one at a fraction of the cost, and with the ability to effect repairs without involving John Deere reps to come out with a USB key or enlisting the help of Ukrainian hackers. I like this farmer guy.
Yeah, I think you're going to start to see this is like a farming thing, but I really think you're going to see a human revolt to all of this.
Right. So that was my question. I was going to pose it as this. With all new cars and this future electric autonomous vehicles get more complex, will there be a similar backlash to what's been happening in the farming industry?
I think you will if you start to see some of the newer cars becoming unreliable or people aren't able to do what they want to do. You might see some sort of backlash to it.
Yeah.
There probably is already a little bit. Used car market prices are pretty high.
Because they don't.
Because people either A, can't afford it, or B, don't understand it, don't want it. There's also a lot of complexity that people don't understand with all the new safety stuff. There's no industry standard. Like you have ABS, you have SRS.
That's right.
These
They're
are
all
industry
systems.
standards.
Yeah.
Those are standard systems, but every single manufacturer has a different name for their adaptive cruise control. They have a different name for their automatic driving, whether it's
automatic braking. And
all this stuff, where it's Super Cruise, all these different things. People are having trouble understanding it.
It's not standardized. Right.
And the younger people probably could figure it out, but they're not necessarily driving that much.
Well, not only that, they can't afford these vehicles.
Yeah, nobody can afford any of it. It's just wild. So people have been, figuring out ways to fix things and do things themselves. And I've even noticed this on Instagram. I've noticed a lot of people are starting to try and do their own work and work on their own car. And there's reward in doing anything, whether it's working on your house or working on your car. When you are able to accomplish something yourself, it is a really, really good feeling. And you can stand back and, especially if you're doing it just for yourself, you can stand back and you just feel good about accomplishing or doing something versus sitting on the couch for 3 hours watching The Bachelor with your wife and every minute of it.
Is that from personal experience?
Yeah, yes. So, all right. So, do you have any more thoughts on that?
No, that's about it. I know we have some listener questions and comments we could get to.
We do. Logan Kindle says, hey, I do have a question for you. I've been listening to your podcast since last year, and I love it. I've been listening to it in order and trying to catch up. I'm currently on episode 117. What are we on now, like 170? I gotta be getting up there.
Something like that.
But my question is, maybe you could talk about it on the podcast. I currently have an 87 Pontiac Fiero GT with a V6 and 5-speed manual, and I think it's a very pure driving experience. It's a manual rack and pinion, non-ABS, mid-engine, lightweight car. What are your thoughts on that?
I love the idea of a Fiero, especially the GT and a 5-speed. I've never driven one, though.
I've never driven one. My uncle had one when I was growing up, and all I remember is my entire family just saying, don't die on your way home. You gotta catch on fire and die on your way home. So that was like ingrained in me.
Yeah, it was like, oh no, Fieros are terrible.
If you get a Fiero, you're going to die. You are going to die. You're going to burn alive in your Fiero. And then he sold it because he got sick of hearing everybody tell him he was going to die every Christmas.
You know what I remember is I was a kid, my dad and I were going to look at some project car or something, and in the garage, this is one of these guys that had like, all the garage was like pristine white and everything with the floor, and he had 2 cars under car covers, and it was a weird shape, and he was super proud of them. And I was like, what is that? And he goes, oh, let me show you this. This is the coolest car on the road today. And he pulls it back, and it's a Fiero. And afterward, I remember driving with my dad. I was like, what is a Fiero? He goes, it's not that cool. That guy was really hyping it up there. It's not that cool.
I'd like to drive one.
I would too.
Our friend Ray Schaefer raced them. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and Mr. Oates raced Fieros back in the day.
That's right.
I would like to get in one. I'd like to drive them. I look at the interior, and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
It does look cool.
That. So if anybody around has a Fiero that we can drive.
I know our local Back to the 80s car show chapter has a ton of them.
They do, and I know they listen. Right now, some guy's like sending us. I bet I get a text message as soon as this episode comes. I got a Fiero, it's right here.
I would love to. Yeah,
and we'll do our smiles per mile.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That'll be the first car that
Are we
gets
gonna
the
make
Overcrest
a 1 to 10
smiles
scale?
per mile.
1 to 10 scale?
Yes, it will.
1 to 10. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go drive something and get that.
I like it.
So, you know the song "Red Barchetta" by Rush.
Yes.
I'll play it at the end here.
Okay.
It was written by Neil Peart.
Yep.
And he passed away.
Yeah.
He's the drummer and he's the songwriter for Rush. And I just wanted to leave everybody with a quote by him. Quote, "It's about being your own hero. I set out to never betray the values that So you know Neil Peart. He's the
drummer for Rush.
Yeah, also the songwriter for Rush. Wrote the song "Red Barchetta." He passed away. He was 67 years old.
I heard that.
It was a brain cancer.
Oh, wow.
You know, a young man.
Yeah.
Well, I still 67, pretty young.
Yeah.
Should still be able to do all the things you want to do at 67. Other than I can't even get out of bed in the morning sometimes. So
it's because you need coffee, Chris.
That's right. So I just wanted to leave everybody with a quote by Neil. He says, quote, "It's about being your own hero. I set out to never betray the values that 16-year-old had, to never sell out and to never bow to the man. A compromise is what I can never accept." So rest in peace, Neil Peart.
It's a powerful thought.
You're a musical genius.
Yeah, awesome.
Take care, guys. We'll see you on Monday. "40 minutes?
40,
yeah,
that's perfect.
I think that's about right for this.
I
didn't want to find any more news. I wasn't really feeling any more news.